For people to be impressed with you over how beautiful and handsome you are. For people to be impressed with you over what kind of car you drive. For people to be impressed with you over the kind of job that you have. What point are you going to realize that this is analogous to eating junk food? You can be fueled by junk food, but junk food has inflammatory consequences to your system. It has inflammatory consequences to your psyche. Consequences that may not necessarily reveal themselves on that day. They may not necessarily reveal themselves next week. But eventually, you will be helpless but to experience the significant negative side effects of consuming nothing but junk. Likewise, we are outputting nothing but junk. Not only are we consuming junk, but even where our gravitational pull takes us, it takes us to illusions of connection, illusions of good times, illusions of meaning. It is my stance that you would garner more meaning from sitting in silence for an hour than you would with the average hangout or social interaction. I'm not saying that being around people isn't necessary and good and beneficial. We are very much so wired to be social creatures, and I am as well. I am uplifted and I am benefited from social interaction, but there has to be meaning behind it. And I have to know who I am before diving into it. And I have to know what I'm about. And I have to have a kind of internal hygiene that's been established, that has been implemented prior, so that I am not in the mix of my peers or strangers, acquaintances, family, or friends with a desire to win. I am not in the mix with this desire to soothe my insecurities. My interest is to be present, and my interest is to be honest, and my interest is to engage in a reciprocity. And whatever come, let it come. But we're not doing what we need to do for our humanity. In fact, we take human hygiene for granted. And I'm not talking about simply deodorant and brushing your teeth, which is very important. I'm talking about a hygiene that is akin to that thing that people call a soul. You don't have to have classical religious beliefs to see that there's something within us that is deeper than the pure base humanity that we all tend to showcase and tend to tap into on a daily basis. I hear too much about people feeling misled, especially young people. I'm hearing a lot. I'm seeing these compilations a lot about them saying that I was told that I was supposed to do X, Y, and Z, and that's what a life was. Stop letting people tell you what a life is. Again, a life, you will lead a much richer life by examining the dark corners of your soul, by wrestling with the harsh truths within you, by engaging and exercising self-honesty, by nourishing yourself, by getting your sleep, by engaging in physical activity, do some jumping squat thrusts. I'm so serious. We're doing it all wrong. And then when we're quote unquote doing it right, we tend to be doing it for the wrong reasons. If we're not having connection based upon, I'm tapping into who authentically am, and you're tapping into who you authentically are. And we interact on that basis without a desire to make each other feel inferior, without a desire, again, I have to stress this enough. I can't stress this enough. Without a desire to win. I don't know what we're doing. And there's many people that won't admit how lost they feel And there's many people that won't admit how empty they feel. I'm here to tell you that everything that I talk about and everything that I believe in is due to my experience with this emptiness. It's due to me having to come to grips with the fact that I'm very much so susceptible to addiction. I am very much so susceptible to a kind of deep emptiness. And I came to the frightening conclusion that I am the decisive element. I came to the frightening conclusion that I am the decisive element. What happens is we look outward and we look at everybody. Is everyone else? I had to cry many, countless times. I had to declare and admit many harsh truths. And it didn't thwart or affect my self-esteem. If anything, it fortified my self-esteem. Because after you engage in the process of figuring out who am I, what am I, why am I, and then you exercise all the quote unquote demons, you disentangle the Christmas lights, as I also call it. We sweep so much under the emotional rug throughout our life. So you got to do some serious cleaning within your soul. Afterwards, what one comes to feel is a sense of walking in truth. And also one gets to decide what you're defined by. I'm not defined by my race. I am not defined by my gender. I am not defined by my job. I am not defined by my things. I'm defined by my effort. That's what defines me. And that's what I have decided for me. Meaning, were I to fall short today, were I to be beside myself and I find that I'm being ugly with somebody, what will happen is I will be hard on myself and regret it. And I will say, God, that was so weak and cowardly. And I will be okay because my belief is it's not in the misstep. Or let's say I was being cowardly in some other way that where I'm not the one causing the negative effect. But let's say I'm a coward in some other sense. Let's say I'm a liar. Let's say I'm a deceiver. Let's say I'm just engaging in some kind of toxic kind of way. I'm going to admit it. I'll be damned if I don't admit it. The reason why it doesn't affect my sense of self-esteem is not because I don't care. I care very much about indulging the fool within. I care very much about indulging the toxic person within. The reason why it's okay, though, is because I have proven to myself time and time again that I am going to try my best to quote unquote rebound. And I do try my best. It's not a theory. I have shown and revealed to myself proof of concept. No matter how much I fall, no matter how much I fail, I'm going to try. Now, I will say, to speak to other people's sort of jadedness with this, I acknowledge many people say they're going to try and they don't. I acknowledge many people say they're going to change and they don't, but I'm talking about you versus you. And I'm talking about me versus me. And I'm talking about having a self-esteem that is based in actuality as opposed to one that's based in illusion, one that is based in impression management, one that is dictated by everybody else's perception of you, or one that's there's so many obnoxious people who unjustifiably feel amazing about themselves, but they shouldn't. All that to say is effort matters. All that to say is examination, self-examination, self-honesty matters, self-criticism matters, which is a part of self-honesty. Our efforts matter. I'll leave you with this. The four pillars of stability are still like very much so my quote unquote religion. Adequate sleep, adequate nourishment, adequate physical activity, and healthy conversations, not only with others, but with yourself. Bless you all.